Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into something, well, basically as old as humanity itself, our long and really complicated relationship with alcohol.
Right. And we're using Mark Forsyth's book, A Short History of Drunkenness, as our guide.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book, really witty, super engaging, but also like thoroughly researched.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shortcut to understanding how drinking has shaped, well, everything. Societies, rituals.
Whole civilizations.
Yeah.
So our mission really is to pull out the key insights from Forsyth. We're going to go from, maybe prehistoric fermentation right up to modern pubs.
And hopefully reveal some surprising stuff about alcohol's influence.
Exactly. And why it all still kind of matters to us now.
So speaking of origins, Forsyth kicks things off with this really intriguing idea. It actually reframed how I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
He suggests that that maybe humans started drinking before we even got to agriculture.
Yeah, before farming, just stumbling upon fermented fruit kind of thing.
Exactly. Wild, right?
It is. And what's really fascinating is how it sort of lines up with some archaeological finds.
Oh, like what?
Well, we've got things like the world's oldest known recipe for beer from Mesopotamia.
Wow.
Yeah, it points to a very early, deliberate connection to making alcohol. Maybe it grew out of those accidental finds, But it became purposeful.
Okay, so it wasn't just a happy accident for long.
It's not that.
So from those early sips, how central did it actually become for those big ancient civilizations, Egypt, Mesopotamia?
Oh, it was fundamental, absolutely woven into the fabric of their societies.
Like how so?
Well, for Egyptians and Mesopotamians, alcohol was key for religious rituals and daily life. Their gods, like Osiris, directly linked with beer.
Right.
Then you get the Greeks and their symposia, which sound quite sophisticated social events, strict rules, often watering down the wine quite a bit.
Yeah, I loved Forsyth's description of that, calling the Greek watered-down wine the original mocktail.
Exactly. It really highlights how nuanced their approach could be even way back then.
It wasn't just about getting hammered.
Not always, no. And even cultures we think of as maybe heavier drinkers, like the Vikings.
Right, Valhalla and the endless mead.
Mm-hmm. They tied drinking to mythology, sure, but Forsyth points out they also had pretty strict social rules about, drunken behavior.
So even then there were lines.
There were boundaries, yeah. It shows complexity across the board.
Okay, so that ancient worldview, did it change much moving forward into, say, the Middle Ages?
Things definitely evolved. In the Middle Ages, you actually see monasteries becoming major brewers.
Monasteries. Brewing beer?
Yeah, often because beer was, frankly, safer than the water available at the time, less likely to make you sick.
Makes sense.
And this led to alehouses becoming these vital community hubs, places people gathered for, well, everything. News, business, socializing.
Right, and then you fast forward a bit and get these really wild periods, like London's gin craze in the 18th century. Forsyth's account is hilarious, but also kind of horrifying.
Oh, absolutely. Gin was cheaper than tea. It led to this incredible societal chaos, just widespread public drunkenness on a scale that's hard to imagine.
Such a stark example.
It really is. And it shows society grappling, often clumsily, with alcohol's impact. You can draw a line from that kind of event to later attempts to, control drinking, like Prohibition in America.
Just mostly failed, right?
Well, it's certainly had massive unforeseen consequences. It shows how hard it's been to legislate alcohol effectively throughout history. Our laws are always trying to catch up.
So beyond the laws and the sort of boom and bust cycles like the gin craze, what about the deeper cultural side? What does Forsyth say about that?
He makes a really compelling point about places like pubs and taverns. Historically, there were these rare spots where social hierarchies could kind of blur.
Interesting, like a social equalizer.
In a way, yeah. A unique setting where people from different walks of life might actually interact, which didn't happen much elsewhere.
And you definitely see alcohol's influence just everywhere in culture, don't you? Art, literature.
Politics, too.
Right. Think of Shakespeare's tavern scenes or, Winston Churchill and his famous drinking habits. It's part of the story for so many figures and moments.
Absolutely. And Forsyth really emphasizes this. Our attitudes towards drunkenness, how we view it, how we treat it, it acts like a mirror.
A mirror to what?
To broader societal values.
Yeah.
Whether the prevailing mood is more towards, say, Puritanism or towards letting loose hedonism, alcohol reflects that back at us.
That's a great way to put it. So, okay, we've gone from potentially accidental fermented fruit all the way through gods, emperors, monks brewing beer, the absolute chaos of the gin craze. Forsyth really does make this incredibly complex history feel, well, accessible and pretty entertaining too.
He does. His humor really helps. So if we connect all this, thinking about the big picture from a short history of drunkenness, maybe the question for you listening is, what does this journey tell you about our own relationship with alcohol right now and how our social norms are changing today?